All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today I'm back with another video here. And today, recapping the 2023 NHL draft for the Philadelphia Flyers. A lot of things to kind of talk about here. Flyers made 10 picks. They did make a trade. They moved into the second round. Obviously, last night, Michkov at 7, Oliver Bonk at 22. The Flyers go with the superstar potential in Michkov and a guy who genuinely can come here and dominate. It's a no-brainer. I talked about it last night in the video. I did a separate video for round 1 for Michkov and Bonk. I won't talk about them as much in this video, but I will mention it. So if you want to check that out, that is on my channel as well, and I'll put it in the description below. As for the last few rounds of the draft, and obviously going from round 2 to 7 and all that stuff, the Flyers they did well. I mean, for what it was, and you addressed a lot of organizational needs. In total, you go with 2 goaltenders, 3 right-handed defensemen, and 5 forwards. Right now, 2 centers and 3 wingers. Obviously, that can change. Some guys can go from wing to center. Majority of guys go from center to wing. All that different stuff. But 3 right-handed defensemen was something that the Flyers needed. I mean, you go and you get a bunch of these different guys. Specifically, obviously, Bonk in the first round. You get a guy like that. They've talked about it being like a safe pick. I talked about that last night. I think there's a lot of different things that can kind of go with it. But let's start with the second round. So the Flyers make a trade. They traded the 2024 second that they got from the Los Angeles in the Provorov trade, and their 5th round pick this year to Chicago at 51 to select Carson Bjarnason. I think I said that right. I'm probably going to butcher that. I'm not good with the name, so I apologize. But goaltender, he's Swedish goalie from Brandon. The Wheat Kings, they're not great down there in the WHL. Where's number 31? June 30th, 2005 birthday, 17 years old. He'll be 18 in 2 days. 6'3", 190. I watched some footage. Again, Brandon isn't a great team, and for him to be 21, 19, and 5, 308 goals against average, 900 save percentage, and 3 shutouts on a team that's not great. It was one of the things that was put out earlier today from Bill Meltzer was the fact that, Bjarnason and just his overall type of game, it kind of is like Hart with Sandstrom a little bit with the backup in Brandon as well, where it was just like his numbers were totally better and the backup numbers down there were just not good at all. It seemed like he's really good with his legs. He's able to push off from his post. He moves from side to side pretty quick. He hit some pretty good saves. Smaller in the net, comes out big, type of thing. So obviously the Flyers need a goaltender. Outside of Kolosov, you don't have anything. Obviously, you have Urson. You obviously have Carter Hart. Obviously, you do have Felix Sandstrom on contract, and you have Fedotov. And then outside of Urson and Kolosov, you really don't have much, behind those guys. Fedotov, obviously, we don't really know if he's going to be here or going to be a Flyer or anything, and if he's going to be able to play. So it's interesting, kind of a different situation, right? But I have no problem with taking a goaltender. Brent Flair mentioned Bjarnason at the pre-dresser or the pre-draft presser, I should say. He mentioned all of that stuff, and he said it was going to be a goalie draft, so I knew we were at least going to take a goaltender, and they ended up taking 2. So in the third round, number 87 overall, Igor Zavragin. I'm absolutely horrible with names, and he is Russian too, so that's probably part of it. 6'2", 183, age 17, August 23rd, 2005 birthday. He'll be in the MHL next year. He has a lot of similar underlying numbers to Shesterkin. Again, no problem with this. Kolosov, again, outside of that, you don't have much. Now you have Bjarnason, you have Zavragin as well, and you add in these different areas. 21 games played, 249 goals against average, and a 920 save percentage this year. He was lit up last year in the playoffs. in one game. He had a 9 goals against, and a 700 save percentage. So he's absolutely lit up. They got blown out in that one game. This year, had 4 games played in the playoffs, 268 goals against average, 927 save percentage. Definitely rebounded, in the playoffs for sure. Obviously had good regular season numbers this year as well to kind of back that up. And again, I wasn't able to find much footage on him. Smaller type of goaltender, though, 6'2". The Flyers, they get, some of these guys, obviously goaltenders are, around like the same type of height. As for both of these goaltenders, 6'3" for Bjornsson, Zavergin 6'2", and it's like you have that type of range where these guys are a little bit smaller, not as big, right? Like there's some goalies, obviously like Ben Bishop, right, being like 6'5". Vasilevsky obviously is huge as well. So there's a little bit of a difference there in size too. But these guys are a little smaller, especially for Bjornsson, like I mentioned, because I could only find so much footage on him. As for Zavergin, like I mentioned, I wasn't able to find much. But outside of that, the Flyers in the third round as well. Denver Barkey is the next pick. 5'9" center from London Knights in Ontario. Really quick release, speedy. Definitely a pretty highly emotional player, really into it. Like some of the goals he was scoring were, pretty nice. I mean, smaller, again, 5'9", 195 pounds. 155 pounds. But, he's kind of in that range where like, he has that ability to kind of make those type of plays, and he's a guy that definitely can grow, but he has some skill for sure. Really, again, quick release, like I mentioned, he can definitely make plays at the net. Pretty solid skater as well for his age. Obviously, a lot of this stuff can kind of change. 61 games played, 22 goals, 37 assists for 59 points. He had 24 points in 20 games in the playoffs for London in the OHL. So not a bad pick there with Barkey, and he seems like a type of guy that definitely some pretty decent upside as well for, being the Flyers' 5th pick in this draft. 4th round pick, they go with Cole Knuble, Mike Knuble's son. I tweeted this the other day that he was like a name to kind of keep an eye on because I had heard from Mike on Monday afternoon, because obviously I have the segment with Mike. He had mentioned to me that, Cole was interviewed by the Flyers at the Combine. So I just kind of put it out there, hey, this is a guy to keep an eye on, and the Flyers take him, which is great. Mike had mentioned it on the podcast Tuesday night. I put it up on Twitter that, Cole was interviewed by the Flyers and all that too. So it was put out there, and he ends up getting taken. USHL in the Fargo Force, 66 points in 57 games played. He was plus 31 on the season, had 9 points in 9 games in the playoffs. Brent Flair had mentioned that he basically worked his ass off, and Mike Knuble had said the same thing to me. He was like, he literally put himself in the position to where there was literally nothing else he could do besides get drafted. And if he wasn't going to get drafted, you couldn't say like, he should have been able to do more or anything. He put in everything he can, and he seems like a really hard worker, has some pretty good hands around the net, kind of like, Mike a little bit. I think he's a good shooter as well. And I think there's some comparison to his dad as well. He was at the Red Wings development camp last year. He is an overager. He'll turn 19 in a couple days here, July 1st. And it's kind of funny because Mike, when he signed here with the Flyers in 2004, July 1st, he signs here. Cole was born on that day. Mike had played golf. He worked out in the morning, played golf, and then he signed in Philly, and then his wife ended up giving birth to Cole that day as well. They ended up having a kid. So really cool story there for Mike, and obviously congrats to Cole and the Knuble family as well. And again, I'll be having Mike on the segment on the podcast as well. 4th round, Flyers take Alex Ziernik, German player from playing in Sweden. He is German, all that different type of stuff. And it was kind of funny. Like he was kind of like, you can kind of say, you kind of pick where I'm from kind of thing, which was kind of funny. He had 21 points in 19 games. It seems like, off the boards of what, I personally look at and stuff like that, like elite prospects and all them ones, he's ranked around like a second round, like late second round to like 4th round pick. So Flyers might have been able to get a steal here at 120 in the 4th round, kind of later on in the 4th round. 18 years old, 5'10", winger right now, around 180 on the pounds, and shoots left. He's pretty explosive. I mean, he's got a pretty good shot, has, you know, some pretty nice play. Like, I was watching some film, and like, it seems like when he has the puck, you know, kind of like what I was saying, explosive, like he can kind of move pretty quickly and kind of make that quick play. So, you know, all that different stuff. And then, you know, we end up getting a winger there. So that might be a type of steal that's like, okay, that seems like one, you know, later on you might be able to see. Carter Sutherland, a right-hand defenseman from the Western League, 6'3" defenseman, pretty physical guy. Again, the Flyers need right-handed D, so I don't have a problem with this at all. Again, 6'3", 197 pounds, 68 games played, 4 goals, 19 assists, 23 points, and 54 penalty minutes. His 2005 birthday, June 26th. Sixth round was Ryan McPherson, a forward, going to be playing pretty high up, it seems like. So this past year in the GOJHL, he had 49 games played, 61 points, and then had 38 points in 24 games in the playoffs. Next year, he'll be going to the BCHL, the Penticton V's. He'll be playing there. And then the following year, that's 24-25, he'll be in University of New Hampshire in the NCAA. So the Flyers end up getting a college guy here. At least going to be going to college, I should say. And, you know, pretty good player. I mean, obviously, you know, 61 points in 49 games, really good number. Same thing in the playoffs, all that type of stuff. For a 6th-round pick, seems like a pretty solid, you know, bet right now that you can maybe make the case that, you know, maybe he ends up turning into something. We'll see. But up until this point, the Flyers, they do take another defenseman. Oh, excuse me about that. The side of my notebook. They end up taking Matteo Mann. And Mann is a type of guy that, you know, he ends up getting taken here in the 7th round. And as for him, you know, he's the type of guy, 6'6". I actually got a call from Craig Eagles, who was a former scout in the Quebec Major Junior League. He said he's watched him since he's like 15. He called me maybe 15, 20 minutes after he was drafted. And he just said to me, you know, he's 6'6", he can skate, 200 pounds. And again, Craig is great. He does a lot of good stuff. I'll put the article that he wrote about Matteo Mann in the description below if anybody wants to check him out, and I'll put it in the comments as well. He said he's going to play. He was the youngest player in the Quebec draft, the QMJHL, youngest player in the NHL draft. He said he's going to come into his own. It'll probably take some time. He mentioned Adam McQuaid a little bit, where it was like a guy that he didn't really put up too many points, but it was a guy that you could definitely rely on in certain situations. He said 5'6" role, he could play that in the NHL all day. So it's definitely good to hear. You know, as a 7th-round pick, he's 6'6", you know, 200-something pounds. Like, there's something there. And I just think for this draft for the Flyers, it's like, clearly, I think that Michkov is going to be a home run. I basically already said that, to be honest. I feel, again, coming here, like all that stuff, if he comes here, great. You know, then we're able to see all of it. And I think he's going to come here. I really don't think it's you know, a big deal as everybody's making it, to be honest. Again, you had right-hand defenseman. You know, every defenseman we took in this draft was right-handed. They clearly know that we need that, and we're lacking that on that side. We had some goaltenders. We had some depth behind Kolosov. You know, it just seems like a really solid draft. You had a guy that, you know, in Knuble that, like, really, like, again, worked his ass off to kind of get into the spot. Denver Barkey, you know, seems like a really good pick. Like, a lot of these just seem like really solid picks for this team. They went with some good organizational needs. They went with the superstar type and Michkov. Like, this seems like a really solid draft for the Flyers. And just it makes you feel good, because it's like, you know, we've had a couple years where it's like, you know, we haven't had as many picks. This is the most picks we've had since 2016. So it feels good. It feels good to kind of go into a draft and, like, I should say, leave a draft or go into the rest of the summer and just be like really happy about where we're at. And obviously dev camp in a couple of days here. It'll be interesting. A lot of different things to kind of look at with this team, and let me know what you guys think below on the Flyers 2023 draft. It seems like a lot of different things. You know, for me, I think it was a good draft. I think you added in every area you should have. you end up getting a superstar quality type of player in Michkov at number 7, and you add in depth in pretty much every other area. So now the biggest thing and the biggest question is the development, and we'll see how that goes, because that is the big thing. But this was step one, getting the right type of draft, and I think this is a right draft. I mean, really, we don't know, right? I think it's going to take some time, but I think for now, again, like I mentioned, like you add so many different things. So let me know what you guys think below. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you like this video. Well, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the video, and obviously the channel, and then hit the like button if you enjoy the video. All that type of stuff. Thanks everybody again for all the support. I really do appreciate it. It was a great stream last night. And I do apologize for ending the stream a little early today. I had to go to the vet with my dog, and that as well. So, yeah, thanks everybody so much again for all the support, and I'll talk to you all again soon.